Hi, everybody. Welcome to English Digest. I'm Stephanie.
I'm Tom.
Hey, it's our travel unit, and we're going to Australia this time, which is kind of a nice time to go if you are getting cold or you feel like it's getting a little chilly. To go to Australia, it kind of turns the seasons around, and they have the warmer weather in winter and the cooler weather in summer. I've never been to Australia. I've wanted to go. It's just been kind of hard to get everything aligned at the same time. It's not a quick trip. You have to spend a lot of hours on the plane. Have you been, Tom?
No, and there are lots of other places I'd like to go to first, but I'm sure Australia is a pretty cool place to go to. I've had friends who've gone there. They say when you fly there, it gets to Australia, and then you think, oh, okay, here we are. We're over Australia now. It's going to land very soon, but actually Australia is a very big country,
it's huge.
And it takes a while to fly across Australia to get to Sydney or wherever it is you're going. But today we're actually going to Gold Coast, or the Gold Coast, as it's sometimes referred to, on the eastern shore of Australia. And we're going to talk about all the fun things you can do there if you're into kind of beach life. Okay, so let's begin our lesson by listening to the entire contents, and we'll be right back. When winter chills the northern hemisphere, our friends in the southern hemisphere are soaking up the sun. Nowhere is this truer than in Australia's Gold Coast, a lively city and region in Queensland. Known for its warm subtropical climate and beautiful beaches, this amazing tourist spot is home to an array of exciting activities. Let's kick off with Surfers Paradise, a coastal suburb and beach at the heart of the Gold Coast. Boasting sparkling white sands and crystal clear waters, the extensive beach lives up to its name and attracts numerous surfers and swimmers. If water activities are not your thing, fear not. You can enjoy sunbathing or wait until the sun sets when the Surfers Paradise beachfront markets spring to life every Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday. Colorful stalls sell local crafts, mouth-watering street food, and handmade souvenirs. In addition, a string of restaurants, hotels, and shopping centers stretches along the coastline, ensuring the needs of every visitor to Surfers Paradise are adequately met. In order to look out over the Gold Coast, head to the Sky Point observation deck perched on the 77th and 78th floors of the Q1 Tower, the tallest building in Australia. Thanks to its soaring height and enormous floor-to-ceiling glass windows, the deck offers spectacular, uninterrupted 360-degree views of the gorgeous coastline and city skyline. Adventurous souls are advised not to miss the Sky Point climb. Attached to a specially designed safety rail system, you can scale the exterior of the building and conquer the very top of the tower, a truly unforgettable experience.
Okay, guys, let's dig in. We have 2 days to talk about the Gold Coast over there in Australia. It's a pretty well-known, pretty famous place when people, especially people who like to surf, talk about their favorite spots around the globe. Of course, they always mention Gold Coast. So I don't surf. I'd still like to see it, though. It looks beautiful if you watch it online or if you've seen TV shows that include Gold Coast there. So when winter chills the northern hemisphere, and that's where we are, right? We're in the northern hemisphere.
We certainly are.
Yes, although it gets hot here, so it's hard to remember.
It does.
Our friends in the southern hemisphere are soaking up the sun. I remember reading books when I was a kid, and it was set in Australia, and it was around Christmas time in this novel, and they were on the beach, and they were hot and sweaty, and I thought, that's so weird. Because I grew up in the desert, and even the desert cools down around Christmas time in the northern hemisphere, but remember, they're in the southern hemisphere, and so their seasons are just the reverse of ours.
Right, so this sentence is basically telling us in the northern hemisphere it's cold in the winter, and in the southern hemisphere it's hot in the winter. And, of course, it's the summer down there, so they would refer to it as such. And nowhere is this truer than in Australia's Gold Coast, a lively city and region in Queensland. Now, I've heard of the Gold Coast, which would refer to that region, but when preparing for today's lesson, I actually found out that there is a city called Gold Coast. So it's also a city and it's a region, and I believe it's south of Brisbane, and again, it's on the east coast of Australia, and it's also in the Australian state or province called Queensland.
I was just double checking. I've always said Queensland growing up. I noticed it's kind of the Queensland, although it looks like Queensland. But if you look up in the dictionary, you actually can pronounce it Queensland, but no one does. So just know that Queensland is the preferred pronunciation. So it is a lively city. It's also a region in Queensland. So it's known for, of course, its warm subtropical climate and beautiful beaches. It's known for its beaches. Let's just be honest. They're very pretty. It's kind of like that white sand that you find in Florida. California beaches aren't that nice, I have to admit. Although I grew up living closer to California than Florida. I was shocked the first time I went to Florida and I thought, wow, their sand is so much better. It's very fine and white. In California, it's more like rocks. But this Queensland, and especially the Gold Coast, where they have these beautiful beaches, the sand is gorgeous and the water is beautiful. And so, of course, it's become an amazing tourist spot, and it's home to an array of exciting activities. If you're home to something, that just means that's something that you have, that you can brag about, that you're proud of. Taiwan is home to some beautiful mountain scenery. I think we have some of the most beautiful mountains on planet Earth. And Taiwan is also home to some wonderful food like beef noodle soup. So what is this particular area famous for? Well, of course, they always first they mention the beaches, but it also has a very nice, warm, subtropical climate. So it never gets too cold there.
Exactly. And here we have the phrase, an array of something. That just means a whole bunch of things, many things. It has all sorts of exciting activities that you can try out.
Yeah.
Now, here in the next paragraph, it says, let's begin with Surfer's Paradise, a coastal suburb and beach at the heart of the Gold Coast. So, yes, this is actually the name of a suburb outside of the city of Gold Coast. It's called Surfer's Paradise. And so it's a suburb, which is a smaller city outside of a larger city. If you go to New York City, of course, you could talk about the suburbs on Long Island. What are some of those suburbs out there? I didn't live there before, but I know some of the suburbs in New Jersey, like Secaucus and Paterson and places like that. Those are suburbs of New York City. And here we've got suburbs of Gold Coast. One particularly is called Surfer's Paradise, and you can imagine there's probably lots of fun things to do there.
Now, notice in the title, if we use Australia's, you don't have to use the. But if you're just talking about the Gold Coast, you need to say the. It's like I would say Paris's Eiffel Tower. No one would say Paris's the Eiffel Tower.
No.
Wrong. So you need the if it's just appearing on its own. So we are talking about the Surfer's Paradise. A paradise is a kind of heaven. So you can imagine that surfers love to go there. Coastal suburb. Coastal just means by the coast, by the ocean. It's near the ocean. And it is considered the heart or the center. The heart of something could be in the middle of something, but it can also be the most important part, the part that people love. So what is to love about it? Well, it boasts sparkling white sands. Yeah. Usually sand is non-count, but you can put an S on the end if you're talking about different beaches. I've kind of given up on this, Tom. Everyone in Taiwan just always uses the plural form of everything, like breads, peoples, everything, fabrics. But honestly, if you just leave it off, if it's non-count, it's always right. But it's not always right if you put an S on, so be careful with that. But it does have beautiful white sand beaches. Oh, and if you're saying they're sparkling, this is kind of a fun word. It just means it's kind of gleaming like a star. But if something sparkles, it also has has different levels of light. So it could go from a really bright light to less of a bright light. You can also say that someone has a sparkling smile or has sparkling eyes or sparkly eyes 都可以. And it just means they're very kind and happy. But here, they're sparkling white sands. I would say this gives you the idea, too, that they're very clean. And that's always nice.
Right. I understand that there are many sidewalks in Taipei that use small pieces of glass in their construction. And so those sidewalks will sparkle in the sunshine.
That's true.
Sometimes that's kind of scary because you're thinking, wow, is there glass here? If I ride my bicycle, will I get a flat tire? But they're okay. They work pretty fine. And yes, we've got sparkling white sands, white beaches, and we've got crystal clear waters. And this extensive beach lives up to its name and attracts numerous surfers and swimmers. So back to the word crystal here. Crystal is a kind of rock that is clear, and sometimes it's quite expensive. So if you say crystal clear, that means they're totally clear. There's nothing in the water to get in the way of your vision. You can probably see to the bottom when you're even out in a boat. I spent my summers next to a lake where the water was always full of algae, so it was never crystal clear.
Yeah.
But nearby there was another lake that was spring-fed, and the water there was always crystal clear.
Nice. Yeah, you love that. If you're looking at an area of water that has a lot of mud in the bottom, it's hard for it to be clear because fish kind of kick up that dirt all the time, so it's not very clear. This is wonderful. So they've got sparkling white sand there and crystal clear waters. Now, the extensive beach, extensive just means it's long, it's expansive. It lives up to its name. If it lives up to its name, look at the name Gold Coast. Gold. Well, gold attracts people. Gold is considered to be a very, very valuable mineral. So you want that, gold. So it attracts a lot of people, numerous surfers and swimmers. It's a wonderful place to go if you're into either of those activities, or if you just want to sit on the beach, lay out, get a tan. I know the ladies out there don't want tans, but yeah, it's beautiful.
Phew, we've talked about a lot and we're kind of exhausted right now, so let's take a break and listen to our Chinese teacher.
Hello everyone, 我是派老师。今天讲解的是11月15号 Unit 8 Surf, Sun and Fun on Australia's Gold Coast Day 1。这个单元介绍的是位在南半球的著名景点黄金海岸。这个地方在澳洲的昆士兰。对于位在北半球的我们，如果前往造访，特别有趣。应该就是季节的相反这样的一个经验了。冬天去玩，到了当地就是夏天。夏天去澳洲，行李一定要带着冬天的衣物。不过黄金海岸的特点当然不止季节和台湾相反，这里也是冲浪者的天堂。美丽的海景会让许多游客流连忘返。好，我们一起来看学习重点吧。请看到第一段第一个句子。Our friends in the southern hemisphere are soaking up the sun. 请同学把 soaking up the sun 画起来。Soak 基本上我们需要的是液体，那才能够吸收沉浸在里面。不过在这里呢，其实是一种比喻的说法，就表示呢，南半球这边有非常多的阳光，那你可以呢去晒日光浴，吸收这些阳光。再来，请看第二个句子。第二个句子，老师有2个文法点要介绍。首先，第一个就是请看 Nowhere is this truer 这里开始，这个部分呢属于呢倒装句。同学可以看到 Nowhere， 好，这算是一个否定词，对吧？好，那主词在哪里呢？就是 this 这个地方。这句话到底是什么意思呢？它所意味着的就是没有任何其他地方比澳洲的黄金海岸更符合上面这个句子所说的状况，也就是北半球冬天大家都冷得要命的时候，在南半球的人可以享受阳光的滋润。好，那请同学特别要注意的就是，首先呢，第一个就是倒装句，刚刚我一开头说过了。再来呢，第二点就是没有一个地方比什么更怎么样。 好，这样子的逻辑好像有点绕来绕去的。那大家应该要了解，这边的重点就是在说，在澳洲的黄金海岸哦，在这个地方，很多人是可以享受阳光的。那可是，在北半球，天气是相当寒冷的。再来，请看第三个句子。第三个句子呢，老师也有3个重点要讲。首先，请看到 home to 这个片语。那通常呢，我们是说这个地方有些什么，有很多的什么样子的东西。再来第2个，我们就来看这个句子到底是什么意思呢？ This amazing tourist spot is home to。 好，这句话的意思就是这个令人惊叹的旅游胜地，还有各种令人兴奋的活动，就是这句话的意思。再来，请同学看到的是整个句子，这属于分词构句。那原本的句子呢，应该是 This amazing tourist spot is known for its warm subtropical climate and beautiful beaches。 好，那由于呢，这边同样的就是 amazing tourist spot 跟逗点之后都是相同的嘛，那主词相同，我们为了要更精简，可以做分词构句。再来，请同学看到第2段的第一个句子的 kick off， 那就是从哪里开始。然后呢，第2个句子也是分词构句的结构，请同学注意。那再看到后面的 lives up to its name， 这边就是不负盛名的意思。
We're going to take a quick break. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. Welcome back, guys. We're talking about the beautiful Gold Coast that's located in Australia. It's in a region in Queensland, and we were talking about how it's very popular with tourists. They've got great weather there, beautiful beaches. The sand is all white, and the water is clear. In fact, it's so clear, it's crystal clear. If you want to emphasize that something's very, very clean and that you can look into it and you can see a lot of things, it's crystal clear. Or someone's talking to you. I forgot about this. If someone's talking to you and they are explaining something that you might not understand, they can say, do you get it? And you can say, yeah, it's crystal clear. Yeah, very, very clear to me. So, yeah, this is a fun place, especially for surfers. In fact, we're talking about Surfers Paradise, which is located in the Gold Coast, and it's the coastal suburb and beach that's at the heart of the Gold Coast entirely. So, it's a place that is very popular for surfers and swimmers alike.
Right, so if you like to surf or if you like to swim or do other water activities, this is the place for you. And if water activities are not your thing, fear not. You can enjoy sunbathing or wait until the sun sets when the Surfers Paradise beachfront markets spring to life every Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday. So I suppose lots of people go to the Gold Coast in order to enjoy the beach. But if you're not into the beach, if you're not really into water activities, if those activities are not your thing, well, fear not. Don't be afraid because there are other things to do. You can enjoy sunbathing, which is something that Caucasians like to do. But people in Taiwan just don't really like that so much. I haven't really seen people going out to get suntanned. Suntans. Yeah, that's the word. I couldn't think of it because I don't really like to do it myself. And yes, you can enjoy sunbathing to get a suntan or wait until the sun sets when it gets dark. And then we've got this market, the Surfers Paradise Beachfront Market, or the markets, I suppose there are many of them. They spring to life every Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday. So if something springs to life, it comes alive rather quickly because we have the word spring here, which is usually a piece of metal formed into a coil. If you press down on it and release it, it will react quickly. It will jump up rather quickly. So if something happens quickly, we say it springs to life.
Right. So if you wanted to use a different phrase, kind of a synonym that works as well, Tom used one. It comes alive. Comes alive every Wednesday. Or you could say it comes to life. Instead of spring to life, comes to life. Spring gives you that feeling that there's even more energy behind it. So it really gets a lot of activity going on those particular days. So that's when you'd really want to go. If you like people, some people like solitude and like to go when there aren't big crowds. That would be me. But those are the days that it gets really busy and there's a lot going on. Here in this sentence, I just want to mention quickly, Tom talked about it briefly. Here the sentence says, if water activities are not your thing. If something is your thing, it's something you really enjoy, you really like. So when you hear someone say, that's not my thing, that's really not my thing, they're kind of saying, I'm not very interested in that. So instead of it being a hobby, it's something you don't really enjoy.
You could also say it's not my cup of tea,
yeah.
But yes, it's not my thing. It's not really something that I enjoy doing. So if you're not into the beach, you can enjoy sunbathing or check out those markets that come alive, that spring to life on Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday. And colorful stalls sell local crafts, mouth-watering street food, and handmade souvenirs. So yes, you can browse those stalls, which are like little carts that people have, and they'll be selling those things. Stalls, of course, are very common here in Taiwan in night markets and on the streets sometimes. And yes, they sell local crafts, things that were made locally by people, jewelry and things like that, maybe crocheted things or clothes or whatever. And then, of course, you can get some snacks, which would be mouth-watering street food. You can try some of the snacks that they enjoy down in Australia. And you can also get some handmade souvenirs. If you're traveling to another country, well, you want to bring back souvenirs, either for yourself so that you can remember your trip, or you can give them to your friends as a gift. And souvenirs would include things like, arts and crafts, yes, but maybe a keychain. Or my mother used to like to get those refrigerator magnets, of the different places she went to, and then she had them all over the refrigerator, and those are kinds of souvenirs as well.
Our engineer here at AMC, Hong Shen-sheng, he likes to collect things too. So
postcards.
Postcards. Refrigerator magnets are popular. When I was a kid, I would collect teacups. I don't even drink tea.
Teacups.
But I thought they were so cute. And license plates. I also would get license plates.
If you can get them, yeah. Oh, you mean the souvenir ones with your name on it? Oh,
souvenir
okay.
with the name of the state.
Yeah.
No, and then I'd put them up on my walls.
Interesting.
So I wanted to mention here, handmade means made by hand instead of machine. But if you're making something at home to eat, like cookies or bread, it's not handmade bread or handmade cookies. It's homemade bread and homemade cookies. Yeah, we use those a little differently. So in addition, it has a string of restaurants. A string of just means one after the other. You have a string of pearls on a necklace. So you have got lots of restaurants, hotels, shopping centers, and they all stretch along the coast. So there are a lot of places for visitors to go to, which is kind of great. Coastline, we mentioned coastal, having to do with the coast. The area of land right next to the ocean's water, or the ocean water there. Coastline is that's what it is. The coastline is just where the land meets the water, and you can walk quite far along the coastline there. It just stretches forever, goes on forever and ever.
Yeah, coastline refers to the shape of the coast if you want to emphasize what it looks like. You could just say coast as well. And yes, indeed, your needs will be met if you go to Surfer's Paradise. Now, in order to look out over the Gold Coast, head to the Sky Point observation deck perched on the 77th and 78th floors of the Q1 Tower, which happens to be the tallest building in Australia. So yes, people like to do that. They like to check out observation decks. There's an observation deck in Taipei 101. There used to be one in the Mitsukoshi Tower down by Taipei train station. We like to go there. It had a great view of all the old buildings like the Presidential Palace and Chiang Kai-shek Hall and things like that. But I think most people go to the Taipei 101 observation deck now. But if you're in Gold Coast, you can check out this observation deck. And again, it's the tallest building in Australia, and thanks to its soaring height and enormous floor-to-ceiling glass windows, the deck offers spectacular, uninterrupted 360-degree views of the gorgeous coastline and city skyline. So it's soaring, which means it's going high up into the air, and it's also got these floor-to-ceiling glass windows, so you can have some really spectacular views there, and they will be uninterrupted. You'll get a 360-degree view of the area, and you'll be able to see that gorgeous coastline and also the city skyline. The skyline, of course, is a general appearance of the buildings in a city.
Yeah, I grew up where there was an observation deck as well. I grew up in Arizona, and if you go to the Grand Canyon, 大峡谷, there's this great strip of plastic that allows you to walk out over that big canyon. It's scary. And look down and see what it looks like. So, yeah, that's a fun thing to do. I notice here they're using the verb perch. To perch on something means just to rest or to sit on something. We use that to talk about birds a lot. But people can perch as well if they're just kind of sitting on the side of something. Well, thanks to its really soaring height, it's very tall and enormous floor-to-ceiling glass windows, you get a great view. A 360 means you can just turn around in a circle and see everything. Adventurous souls are advised not to miss the Sky Point climb. If you're afraid of heights, don't go. Attached to a specially designed safety rail system, you can scale the exterior of the building and conquer the very top of the tower. Yeah, and here they're going to help you out by providing a rail system that will help you get up there faster and more easily and safely, of course. A rail could be a series of bars that you hang on to, or as we call them, a railing. Or it could also be a railroad system where you can sit down and they'll just take you up. And it also allows you to scale the exterior. To scale something actually means to climb. And the exterior of something is just the outside portion or the outside part. So you could kind of look like Tom Cruise, scaling that exterior of the building. And it allows you to conquer the very top of the tower. If you conquer something, you win. There's some sort of battle or contest. I think here you're conquering your fears, right? And you overcome your fears and you do something that's kind of tough. So you successfully overcome something by getting to the very top of the tower. That's why they're calling it here a truly unforgettable experience.
And we certainly hope our students feel the same way about listening to our program, that it is an unforgettable experience. We try our best to make it so. And now it's time for us to hear from our Chinese teacher.
接着我们看第二段的第4个句子，请同学特别注意的是在逗点之后，也就是专有名词Surfers Paradise Beachfront Markets 后面有一个动词片语 Spring to Life， 意思呢就是这个地方变得非常的热闹。再来，请同学看到第5个句子，有个很有趣的形容词叫 mouth watering， 在修饰街头可以买到的这些小吃，就是令人垂涎的。再来，请同学看到第6个句子，这个句子呢稍微复杂一点点，也有几个地方要注意的，包括从前面的 a string of restaurants， 有很多的餐厅，一连串的餐厅、旅馆、购物中心等等。好，再来请同学呢把动词片语 stretches along 画起来，就是沿着海岸线绵延下去。那这种直线的概念，这个动词我们用 stretch， 那从南北延伸、东西延伸、直线延伸的概念，我们可以用这个动词 stretch。好，再来呢，请同学要看到的是词语搭配，也就是 ensuring the needs 后面那跟最后的 are adequately met。are adequately met 这个部分，所以我们说需求得到满足 needs are met。 再来请同学看到的是第3段，第3段的第1个句子 in order to 后面的这个动词片语 look out over， look out over 就是俯瞰。如果你要俯瞰黄金海岸，可以到哪里呢？可以到 Q1 大厦。好，再来请同学看到的是第3个句子 Adventurous souls are advised not to。 adventurous 就是爱冒险的。那这里的 souls 当然不是指真正的灵魂哦，而是你有这样子特质的人 are advised to。我们中文常会说最好怎么样，那这里是 not to 就是最好不要。再来，请同学看到最后第4个句子，第4个句子这里又是一样什么呢？同样的就是分词构句 attached to 当然是指的跟后面主要子句的主词是一样，都是 you。那你呢就应该要就是特别注意他们有这个安全的系统。那你只要呢确定好有固定好，就可以呢沿着大楼的外面去攀爬。Scale 在这里的意思是攀爬。好，以上就是我们针对第1天课文所做的中文讲解，谢谢大家。
That's all for today, everybody. Thanks for joining us, but please join us again next time when we continue talking about Australia's Gold Coast. Please join us then. From all of us here at English Digest, I'm Tom.
I'm Stephanie.
Goodbye.
Bye.